Arcadian Vanguard presents The Wrestling News and your daily wrestling newscast for Sunday, March 17th, 2024. Good morning, I'm Mike Sempervive. We begin today with AEW Collision broadcast live last night on TNT from the Canadian Tire Center in Ottawa, Ontario. In the opening match, Bryan Danielson pinned Katsuyori Shibata.
He's going for the bell lock again! Can he get it on him?
He's very cautious.
Shibata's fighting him.
Look at the body and the angle of Shibata here to try to protect against it.
1, 2, what a counter move. 1, 2, 3.
The main event saw the Infantry upset the House of Black due to interference from Mark Briscoe in a wildcard match for the AEW World Tag Team title tournament. The Infantry are now scheduled to face FTR in the tournament. Also on the card, Julia Hart successfully defended the TBS Championship against Trish Adora. In other results, Kyle O'Reilly beat Brian Keith via submission, Daniel Garcia beat Lee Moriarty, and Claudio Castagnoli defeated Lance Archer by disqualification due to outside interference from the Righteous. After the match, Danielson and Shibata ran in to make the save for Castagnoli. Major League Wrestling presented Once Upon a Time in New York last night on YouTube, featuring matches taped February 29th at the Melrose Ballroom in New York City. In the main event, MLW World Champion Satoshi Kojima teamed with Shigeo Okamura and Alex Kane to defeat Josh Bishop, Richard Holiday, and Filthy Tom Lawler. Also on the show, Matt Riddle defeated Davey Boy Smith Jr. Del Miexo beat Zeta to become the #1 contender to the MLW Women's World Featherweight title. In other selected results, Star Jr. beat Magnus, and AJ Francis topped Mr. Thomas. And turning to Japan, Kaito Kiyomiya has been removed from today's Pro Wrestling Noah main event due to a spinal cord concussion. In a press release issued on Saturday, the company announced Kiyomiya is expected to return to action on March 31st. Kiyomiya was scheduled for today's main event, teaming with Ryohei Oiwa against Global Honored Crown Tag Team Champions Jack Morris and Anthony Green. Saxton Huxley and Timothy Thatcher, the runners-up to Kiyomiya and Oiwa in this year's Global Tag League, will now get the title shot. Night 9 of the New Japan Cup was held yesterday in Nagoya, Japan. In the evening's only New Japan Cup tournament match, Jack Perry dropped his quarterfinal encounter to Sonata. David Finlay was scheduled to face off against Hiroki Goto in the other quarterfinal, but was forced to withdraw due to illness. In a press release, the company added that Finlay had undergone evaluation at a local hospital. As a result, Goto advances by forfeit into a semifinal matchup against Sonata. 2 more quarterfinal matches are scheduled for today in Shizuoka, Japan, with the finals scheduled for Wednesday. And before we leave you today, we'd like to remind you that however you consume your content, you can find the wrestling news 24 hours a day and 7 days a week across social media. On Twitter, follow us at Wrestling News AV. Our Facebook page is also Wrestling News AV. The Wrestling News can also be found on the Arcadian Vanguard YouTube page. And for those who utilize Amazon Echo devices, just tell Alexa to play the Wrestling News podcast. And remember to make sure you add podcast at the end. Once again, for daily updates, breaking news, and more, follow the Wrestling News across social media. And that's the news for today. If anything happens, we will be here to tell you about it. No clickbait, no paywall, just the Wrestling News. The Wrestling News is a division of Arcadian Vanguard, and the Wrestling Newscast is a production of the Arcadian Vanguard Podcast Network.